just on. It is game loading time for this best of 5 ZvP rematch from the RSL. Zoun got the upper hand there. Can he repeat and put himself in a matchup against Cyril for a chance to go to France? Or will it be Reynor to show up and cause some ZVZ later on today? In the bottom right side, the blue Protoss player is Zoun, and he takes on Reynor in the top left as we get game 1 of this best of 5 up and rolling here on Pylon. Let's see what happens. Let me find myself a little indie camera. And let's enjoy some awesome ZvP. Really looking forward to this one. I think this one should be sick. I think this should be a good time for sure. As we get this up and rolling. Get this underway.
Game paused.
And a pause. I think Zoun's going to be lagging because of his camera. He said this beforehand. And then they they said it was fine, but I feel like they didn't understand that he was saying, like, I think it's lagging on my side more than anything else. So try and get this underway here in a moment. Yeah, I say in the cam, like, there's definitely a bit of miscommunication. I'm pretty sure he's saying, like, he's just lagging. I think Pig's got the right idea. If he lowers the bitrate, because that's what Showtime did earlier as well. Zoun's just too sharp and high quality at the moment.
Game resumed.
We're back at it. Alright, Zoun and Reynor gonna come through after an extended pause to start things off. Let's see who is gonna get through the upper bracket round of 8. See, the best part of me just casting this one is just I don't have to worry about the players having cam issues and stuff. I'm just vibing, you know? We are just vibing. Living our life. We just let everyone else deal with the problems as we get ourselves settled in to game number 1. So some ZvP, like I say, not sure how this played out the other day between these guys in the RSL. So forgive me if I'm surprised by something or shocked by something that you guys saw a few days ago. Like I say, I'm not being able to catch up on that just yet, so yeah. It is kind of interesting though, because they played a full 5 games, which means the idea of mind games and a bit of this and a bit of that. All that kind of stuff is really kind of up in the air, right? So I think that's a little bit of a factor that, like I say, I'll miss out some of the details on perhaps, but is worth keeping in mind because you get some experience against each other. The second best of 5 in a short amount of time is actually pretty uncommon as well, especially best of 5. So you're playing a bunch of maps. Obviously, some of the maps in this map pool may not be ones they played the other day as well, so there's also that kind of small factor as well. We'll just settle for a moment or two, and then we have the Twilight Council already building up on the side of Zoun. So there you go, with a Twilight-based opening, looking for an early Glaives potentially, or Dark Shrine would be kind of a wilder way to start. Those are the most expected ways for this to go in the early stages. You do see those Zergling speed coming up on the side of Reynor. Obviously that's pretty normal too, takes his 3rd hatchery. Let's see what the Twilight Council does for Zoun in the early stages in the next few moments. Rubber facility starts behind the Twilight Council being done. Could be a Dark Shrine. You know, there's that chance, but it's just going to be Glaives. Unfortunately, there is a Fallen Overlord scout, so Reynor is going to get instant information, sees the Glaives starting on the research on the Twilight Council. He doesn't know it's Glaives necessarily, but that's his best guess at this point in time. And so preparations can be made against that Glaive opening now. And that's exactly what Reynor will begin to set up for over this next little bit of time. We just have the Glaives continuing through, Robo Facility coming up, Gateway in the Sentry building, add a Warp Gate onto that, Roach Roaring coming up as well. Gonna drop that Roach Roaring down at the front. Swing speed starts, the Roach Roaring on the way. Those gates coming through toward completion. We see the Prism and the Glaives all on the way about. Rotron halfway done. Hatch about to complete. A few more drones finishing up here as well. We had a Queen on top of that. Yeah, those gateways are still very much so just coming into play right now. So that Prism is going to pop, and we're going to start heading ourselves across to the other side of the map. Get ready to try and set something up there very soon. Roach Queen, all in production. Just going to be seeing the Prism popping out. Going to start taking a little bit of a step forward. More warp-ins, obviously these Adepts are coming, but Reynor is very well prepped. Roach Ravage already built, and he's still adding on drones, but I think he's right to do so because he could at the right time to get Roaches and Lings ready. And dealing with this initially quickly could just give him a really good opportunity where if this gets shut down fast, he can get back to toward droning so much more quickly than if he has to keep on building units because you're suddenly kind of running around everywhere trying to play catch-up against it. So I think this has already been a pretty big moment in favor of Reynor in the early stages. Those few Adepts are going to step forward again. The Prism overhead is going to be there to support and warp in. Going to threaten the Shade. The thing is, the problem is that these Adepts at the front aren't anywhere scary. So threatening the Shade is fine, but Reynor can absolutely commit to chasing that Shade down because these Adepts at the front aren't doing anything at the front. Zoun's just going to go for the kill, by the way, as well. Reynor adds on a bunch more drones, but he's going to have to go back into unit production because Immortals are producing. No third base, additional gateways. Zoun has one plan, and that plan is to play a very fast and aggressive push here to follow up on this Glaives. He's going to have Immortal and Adept coming through. That's going to be his goal in the very near future. Spinecrawler building. As you also see the lair coming online from Reynor. I mean, these are all nice things. The Spine especially going to help you out in a big way against someone who's not lost any Adepts yet. And that's one thing to note, is that Zoun has not committed these Adepts into a position where they go down, which is obviously a big deal as well. Definitely puts you in the right direction. There's the Prism. Here's the army. This is going to be it. This is really going to be a decider for this opening game of the series. Can Zoun break through with all of these units? Reynor only has about a 10 army supply lead. I honestly think it's fine when he's got himself... Well, yeah, when he's got himself so many units just producing. And he knows from here on out all he has to do is keep producing units. The center in the back goes down to the Lings. Corrosive Vials landing. I mean, the Depth shaded through onto the Roaches. The Immortals aren't lasting very long. The Queen's already pushed back the Prism quite a long way. In fact, the Prism's going to go down. This is a complete shutdown. Reynor could not have been better prepared. He was so ready. The first defense was just perfect. He was super prepared for that. And the second defense, well, he was prepared for that as well. He had the drones at the right time. He had units when... In the bottom left-hand corner, the blue Protoss player is going to be Zoun, and he is down a game. Still representing Vitality. Obviously, great to see a lot of these guys still on their teams post-EWC. Vitality keeping Zoun versus Pro, keeping Classic for now. Obviously, Basilisk and Reynor is not really an EWC connection, but... good to see, obviously, a couple of players drop their teams, like Hero dropped by Twisted Minds already, for example. As Reynor is the red Zerg in the top left corner of the map as well. What are we thinking then? Game number 2. I mean, obviously, game 1, Zoun just very clearly saying, cool, Glaives. Glaive into an Immortal Glaive attack as well. Was very set on the aggression in that game 1. To go into game 2, likely to be a little different. Probe checking about. It's going to get around the back of the mineral line. A little bit of pressure on. Nexus is halfway done currently as the cybercore comes up as well, so we just get that going, probe and the drone. Gonna get a little nibble off on toward each other as well. The drone to the low ground, the probe takes another couple of nibbles for the moment as the link speed builds. Queen's on the way. Zerglings will chase that probe out to that right-hand side. And it's a Stargate from Zoun. So much more normal and regular in terms of what we expect from a PvZ. It's exactly what Zoun heads into initially here as we start on up. Hatch builds onto the third base. Link speed about halfway still. A few drones on the way through the Queen building. Having that one Zergling heading right down in the bottom side. Again, that Stargate is about to complete, and we'll see an Oracle to start, which is, again, really just in the script of what you should do in a PvZ a lot of the time, so no surprises there just yet. And Warp Gate both continue to come through. Just gonna need depth the gate, all building about for the moment, bringing that by. Still just gonna go pinging straight onto the Overlord. It takes a few shots. And the Oracle flying through the spawn, flying through the Queens there, taking a whole bunch of damage as well. A little bit of a rough time, no doubt. Coming over, just going to be seeing the Oracle and Twilight coming about. Slings, drones, the Overlord coming by, the Oracle there getting pushed back by the Queen as well. Just going to shove that the other way. Slings will go toward the pylon. Link is about to be on the way, so really everything is, if you talk about modern day typical PvZ, Oracles, Interblink, Stalkers, there's a lot of different ways to do that necessarily, it's not just kind of the same thing every time per se, but the general consensus of this build is that this is kind of typical standard PvZ for the moment. And Reynor just, okay, the Stargater's proxy is a little bit different, right, so you're going to lose that, but other than that, the general idea is pretty reasonable. And the Road Troran obviously now on the way up from Reynor as he gets settled down. He's going to get in there against those Adepts immediately as well. It's going to be a nice catch. The only downside of the Stargate being proxied in this scenario is if it was Mutas, you don't have a Stargate pre-built to build Phoenix out of. And that maybe is something that Reynor could take advantage of. Otherwise, when you look at this kind of build, I mean, the Stargate going down, typically later in the game we want to go Stargate, Fleet Beacon, extra Stargate, right? So not having the Stargate anymore is like one additional step to build into that. So at that point in the game, it's pretty minor. If you're kind of, heads up about the fact you lost your Stargate early, you can, adjust to that for the most part. The cost of an extra Stargate isn't going to kill you or make or break you at that point in the game, right?
Game paused.
Zoun with some lags again, it seems. I think Zoun is probably not wrong. Alright, looks good. We're going to resume. Get this back on track.
Game resumed.
So we get back to it. I'm just going to be having a couple of oracles overhead, going to hang around. Just going to be seeing the queen's going to be there to push the oracles about a little as well. Storm on the way, blink and +1 coming through. And he's going to pull back again. Storm coming about, +1 attack coming online. Seeing the gates and the robo facility cannon as well, all getting built by. And, Zoun stopping the Artlings from just getting rid of the Stargate completely, but I can't imagine that's something he's going to want to do forever. Just trying to get some free pickings as Reynor fast as that infestation pit as well. Going to give him the route right through into potential lurkers, right? Hydrogen starts up. Just Roach Hydra into lurker has been a common way of playing this. Zoun playing straight to the storm, so he's not looking to do anything himself here. And he doesn't need to be kind of overly cautious because Reynor is teching himself. It's not like Reynor's about to show up with a ton of units. He's droned heavily. He's playing a bigger macro game right now. And that's exactly what Zoun is hoping to play against because, like I say, he's investing into the future. Storm, +1, charge. All of these goodies on the way up at the moment. Stargate included. A few more probes, the cannons, and the battery coming up as well. All of that continues by for now as the Roaches. It's going to back it up a little bit. Oh, we're going to lose an Oracle. He's going to gather. I'm just going to find this observer in the main base. It's a really nice get, something to get rid of. Obviously, they did see a little bit of the hive timing, but just stopping any further scouting. I think you generally know what's up with Zoun, but still having that consistently there can just keep on telling you the info, the updates. Nice to be able to work through that. Let's see attack coming in. We're having the Fleet Beacon, Stargate, all coming through. Ling Hydra Lurker building as well. Which is going to show up. Obviously, this is where everyone going to put a bit of pressure on because he's got the lurkers. They don't have upgrades just yet, but maybe his first chance to start stepping through. A couple of stasis wards going off. The rest of the lurkers trying to come around. As we are going to be seeing a few extra warpers coming through. Zelt on the other side going to take some attention of Reynor away. Can Reynor keep on pushing down on that bottom side with those, get those lurkers in position? There are the Tempests on the way up, so preparation there from Zoun to head into a later stage of this game is being made correctly. Oh, beautiful storm. Those Roaches were plumped perfectly in a storm-sized circle. That said, though, it's the bottom side that I'm more concerned about. That's where the lurkers are at, and these Hydralisks wanting to get on top of the Tempest there. Actually, still trying to chase through a little bit. The lurkers zoning very nicely that top portion of the army. Hydras want to try and get rid of the Tempest, not able to. Reynor still maxed out as Zoun sitting about 160 supply at the moment. Reynor just rallying down with especially a whole bunch more Hydras on the way. Going to be very important against those Tempests as one of them still very low. Here we go, actually going to start diving into this. We are going to be seeing just the full commitment in. I mean, do we have reinforcements to protect these lurkers at all? Right now it looks like it was a good jump from Zoun as he gets rid of all the lurkers in the back from Reynor, so they get taken out with ease. Those lurkers drop, no problem. A couple of Tempests up in the sky will get rid of one lurker that remains. And that is a good cleanup from Zoun as Reynor was just shy of having reinforcements enough to protect those lurkers and to truly make them really kind of relevant. Lurkers on their own can only really do so much. If they're not protected, they die too quickly, and that's just kind of the end of their story. That really was the case on this one. Melee upgrade, adrenal glands both continue to build into play. handful of zealots going to go up the right side. It's a ton of units from Reynor surging across to the bottom of the map. Mothership, Tempest, all the good stuff from Zoun on the way up. I feel like that's where Zoun gets into one of his more comfortable states of the game. Like, sometimes he wants to end the game early, sometimes he wants to fight early on and kind of knock things down, but a lot of the time I think Zoun is also very happy to play the late game. He likes later game PvZ. He likes these bigger armies, Storms, Tempests, and having all of this available to him. To me, I think this is Zoun getting into a position where he is going to feel relatively confident and comfortable. And yeah, you're playing against one of the greater late game players, you know, of Zerg and Reynor, but I think Zoun is going to be pretty okay that he gets to this army. What's important for him now is he doesn't let this game get out of hand, because Reynor is starting to expand everywhere, taking the gold base on this far right. That's going to be difficult to get to outside of run-bys. So Zoun needs to try and just stay on top of running by a couple different directions, keep Reynor moving around and opening up passageways for the main army to strike as well. You can't let yourself sit on 4 bases forever while Reynor takes the map. And right now it's okay, but in the next couple minutes that's got to be one of his goals. Taking a 5th base and moving from that 5th base to start pressuring some of these extra Zerg bases that are coming into play as well. That absolutely has to be the plan here. Stays catches Ling. He's going to be seeing a couple of Tempest shots. Firing onto a few Zerglings as well. Revelation coming down. The Ling Hydra steps out of there. Knight is coming up as well from Reynor, going to give us some more mobility around the map. Currently setting one up next to one of his forward bases, so just kind of giving himself a retreat path as well. And Storger's going to commit for this hatchery. That's not going to go down. It's low enough it might be worth the cancel and rebuild from Reynor. Just because you could cancel it and just rebuild it straight away. Like I say, it's going to fall over to a couple of zealot swipes there, so a little bit of a concern, although I don't think Reynor's really looking to saturate it just yet. It's the idea of this base that's the threat, right? The idea that Zoun has to send stuff here to try and knock it down, that he has to think about that position. Because the gold itself is actually a pretty big threat itself, so if your opponent focuses on getting rid of that, your other bases just mine comfortably for now, and maybe later in the game where Zoun moves to the bottom right of the map himself, maybe that's where you really try and take the gold and hold the gold as Reynor, when you're then more focused on the right side of the map anyway, because that's where you're going to be fighting into your opponent and trying to trade against him. So perhaps that is the concept that he plays for, as Ling Hydra will knock through a set of rocks. A couple of zealots over on the left-hand side, getting pushed back. The rocks will fall on that left side as well. Ken Hatcher on the far right, hurting. Still alive for now. And both players are maxed out as we settle in to a massive Tempest count game. Obviously, Reynor has had the Spire up, and he started to build a few Corruptors, but only 8 so far. Right now, there's more Tempests than Corruptors, so you'd expect that we're probably going to want to go into probably some more Corruptors, but he doesn't have the supply yet, so he'll have to trade something out to build more Corruptors, and that's the choice Reynor now has to make. He also has very limited spellcasters. In fact, he's got no spellcasters. He just added on a bunch more Lurkers. You'd imagine a couple of Vipers, maybe even some Infestors. These kind of things could do a lot, so things to think on as the Hydras get rid of the Observer. Starts up the right side. Talked about this hatchery being exposed. Reynor actually does start mining from it. Gonna get Lings here quickly, but the hatch will die. I'm surprised there's drones here. I mean, I get it, you do want to mine the gold base, I guess, but like I say, it was so close to death, I felt as though he was just going to leave that up as more of a bait, but he actually tried to mine from it. We'll have to rebuild that before you can get those drones back to usual business. Dark Shrine is about to finish up, and Zoun will have DTs added to his arsenal of harassment. We'll see, especially as they get Shadow Stride and that DT Blink. There's a lot they can do. He actually moves in 8 instantly. Oh, they're just Archons. Interesting. So a lot of Archons instantly coming through there from Zoun. See, good addition overall. Just surprised he specifically built DTs to make the Archons rather than just High Templar. Maybe just likes how the balance of the cost of that works out for his army right now as we step up. A couple of creep tumors going down. Obviously, this is a scary army of the Protoss. There's very few chances that I think Reynor can just take one straight up fight against this. This is probably a fight, rebuild, fight again scenario. Or a split up your army and kind of fight where your opponent's army is not. A massive line of static defense sits on this left-hand side, protecting this area. That'll keep Reynor away from breaking through here instantly. But it is pressure that is being made. Those lurkers are slowly chipping through. And that means that, you know, you're on a bit of a timer for Zoun to get across there and to deal with that. While also you obviously want to do some other stuff here as well. That's going to be Nidus across the map. Reynor looking to again cause chaos everywhere. Apart from on top of this actual army. Both Niduses will be denied rather quickly though. So that's going to be a good defense. Hydra Lurker still shooting away. Damage being done. Must be Tempest looking for a little bit extra value there. There's a couple Lurkers getting shot at. Seeing the Corruptors taking a few more hits. One more Storm coming down. Just going to be seeing the Infestors coming up. +2 flyer attack, +1 flyer carapace. +3 melee also getting built right here as the Zelds are going to jump onto the hatch. Just peeling out to that right-hand side. Yeah, I mean, Zoun doing a good job of knocking down those right side bases of Reynor. Eventually, Reynor would want to hold on to that upper right base, you know, if nothing else. But he's going to have trouble holding on to his other bases too here. Reynor's losing a lot of supply already. He has got money. Does he have lava? Yes, he's got 70 lava. He just needs to decide what he wants to build. Stops the Great Aspire in this moment as this base will go down. He's sad, I think, just not knowing really what he wants to kind of, again, produce right now. It's a weird position for Reynor, who going to add a few Infestors, so it's going to be the spellcaster he goes towards. It's going to knock this Nidus down. It's actually not a bad target. It's easy to get rid of, and it removes some of the mobility from one side of the map to elsewhere that Reynor obviously set up to try and utilize, you know, that Nidus for. Otherwise, he wouldn't have built it there in the first place. These Zealots leak through. Reynor, two more Lings. Maybe leaving some supply free to build a handful of Broodlords, but I imagine he needs enough Corruptors to knock the Tempest down first. Because the Tempests are going to absolutely feast if they're going to get themselves just Broodlords as targets. I can't imagine right now that that's going to be the plan. Few additional Warpins coming through. Extra Archons coming up. Cannons on the way. Great Aspire is about to complete. Additional Zerglings will build it as well as the Corruptors come back around the right-hand side. Couple of Nidus networks getting thrown down. Reynor again just finding some different positions to reinforce from, to retreat to potentially. A lot of options provided there as that got settled into play. We're 18 minutes in here on Persephone. Reynor going to start running by as well. Lings, I mean, their Adrenal landed up. +3 melee. They will do a lot against those cannons. Obviously, batteries initially will help out, but as battery energy disappears, the Lings will get through the cannons a lot more quickly. Obviously, it's just going to cost you a lot of Lings because it was a lot of cannons and they were supported by batteries, so you'll have to rebuild those. But Reynor can afford to rebuild Lings for now. That part is not a problem. And what is important is that he does start to break down some of these bases of Zoun, because Reynor in this game is obviously trading worse than Zoun. He can't let Zoun comfortably mine from his entire half of the map. He needs to start making some efforts to stop these bases coming up and to stop them from keeping on mining. See, especially as he lost one base on the left, he lost those bases on the right, we already discussed. These are big factors. Lurkers on the left side going to put some pressure onto the cannons as well. We saw this move previously, and Zoun eventually did deal with it, and a DT right now is going to be the answer. Reynor realizing that that's maybe not ideal. He's going to borrow them out of range of the cannon detection now. That will help. The Infestors set up looking for their fungal to have a huge impact here. That's going to be a lovely fungal to start us off. Second fungal coming down. Tempest still get pushed back. More Tempest shots coming through. Lurker still taking damage as the cannons going to steady themselves. Lings to the upper right-hand side, pulling away from the bottom right bases. The probes went down in the end, as I don't think Zoun's too worried about that. Reynor has begun to build Broodlords as we have the detections. The DTs will not be an all-out answer to the Lurkers this time. A few Zealots might be able to finish up the last few that remain there. Ling's going to try and find other bases to hit. Honestly, what about just the front door? Maybe it could just be something you could target down, get rid of a battery here. Again, there's decent amounts of stack defense, but if you chip through it, right, over time, you are slowly working your way through the stack defense. It's going to give you that situation where eventually you will just have bases to hit, unless your opponent rebuilds it, and that's kind of the idea. Ling's minerals kind of trading for minerals. Both players obviously have absolutely massive banks at the moment, though. That's going to be something that remains a challenge to clean up as the Tempests take a few shots at the Overseers. The Archons coming through on the ground as well. Get rid of that Nidus network. Another Nidus network up for grabs right here as well. So we go make our way toward that. 3 more Lurkers, 3 more Corruptors. Reynor still securing himself onto the 7-ish bases. That top right base has been a struggle for him, but he's back on it now. Zoun, 6 bases, and Reynor's not really being able to break through any of those, beyond just breaking down a few of the cannons initially. That kind of seems to be where we still sit at the moment, is storm down a bunch of changelings, get rid of those nice and quickly, don't have to waste too many clicks. Worth the storm energy just to remove them as quickly as you do there. Now we get 5 cannons and 2 batteries on the way up here on the side of Zoun. So he gets himself another round of static defense, and he's building the super far bottom right base. Once there's static defense on that base, it's going to be very hard to break, because that's a location that was really denied by, Lingrun buys. That right side avenue of attack can be pretty quick to move down. Oh, looking for the fungal. Grabs just a couple of units there. Some feedback's coming through. The Corruptors want to dive in, trying to make the most of this. The Broodlords will zone, and they get a High Templar. These fights at this stage of the game obviously are very complex. There's a lot of moving parts. There's a lot of different little things each player is looking to try and make the most of. Unfortunately, this High Templar is going to go down, as the Zealots that are going to be sent through on just not in good enough number to fight that amount of lurkers either. Oracle looking for the Revelation, give the Tempest as much range as possible with that additional vision. Huge fungal growth, and Reynor comes diving in. He's going to commit. The Archons are going to get involved, but did they get close enough soon enough? I think the answer is yes. It doesn't look like there's a lot of Corruptors left, but the Neural Parasites are absolutely massive. The Archons are going huge onto the Tempest. Oh my goodness, those Archons that Neural did so much damage. That might have been, I want to say might have been enough to turn the game, but obviously it's not. Reynor's in trouble as he's still being pushed back here. Wow, if there was going to be a thing that changed the game, those Neurals might have been it. Lurkers are still breaking through on the left-hand side, but maybe we needed some of these Lurkers back at home to help against the Archons. Because not having basically anything on the ground here is what cost Reynor big time. Reynor on a big rebuild, but there's still Archons to get rid of, and I don't think he's got anything to realistically deal with that. Lurkers would have been a great choice. The Lings that are reproducing are definitely not. We are getting some Hydras coming out. The Lurkers in the bottom left have gotten rid of a base, but obviously Reynor is losing multiple bases. We already saw the DTs knock one base down. Now the main army takes another. And it is just going to be base after base that Zoun claims on Reynor's side of the map, looking to tie this series 1-1 in the best of 5. In we go. A couple of storms coming through. It's going to be seeing the Mothership going down as well. And the Corruptors continue to fight through. There's a couple more Tempests dropping. But that's going to be the last hurrah. GG well played. Says Reynor as Zoun plays the long game and gets the victory out of it to tie us 1-1 in the best of 5. Around that watchtower and that kind of central area that moves a little bit around here and there. As we have us in the top left corner of the map, the blue Protoss player. This is going to be Zoun. Taking on the red Zerg in the bottom right-hand corner of the map. We've got Reynor, and it's tied up 1-1 here. Upper bracket quarterfinals. There is a lower bracket, remember. This is not your only chance. But win this, and then you have a matchup against Serral to get to the offline finals in Paris. Obviously, upper bracket, major advantage as well. You're locking in so much progress in the tournament. Every match you win in the upper bracket, and the lower bracket is always seen as a bit more of a slog. More matches to be won to advance positions. So, puts a lot of pressure on this series. As we have Reynor. I mean, I would love to see a Reynor-Serral match. If I'm cheering for any mirror matchup, Reynor-Serral has to be one of them, right? It's very rare we see it. When you do see it, it's an absolute treat. So, yeah, give me a bit of that, maybe. I mean, at the same time, Serral Zoun could be fascinating as well. Anytime someone is able to make their way through Reynor. The matchup versus Serral then kind of feels possible, but it's such a different matchup because Serral really has that different approach to ZvP as well. And while Reynor is amazing at the late game, Serral King is king of the late game. He rules that land, right? So yeah, it's especially the way that Zoun plays, I think he's going to try and challenge Serral in some very weird games, and Serral is just going to sit there and just play it as he needs to, you know? So yeah, very interesting how all of that pans out as we get ourselves ready to rumble in this game 3 on Incorporeal. Thinking adding many more spores, that would have been a good idea despite the Tempests. Yeah, I think the problem is, again, is just the cost of that, because obviously that costs drones as well. It's also weird because it's also the space of that, and it's kind of weird because it's like you kind of take up a lot of space with spines and spores, and at the end of the day, if there's a spine spore army or a spine spore forest, then the Protoss just doesn't commit into that, which maybe is fine for the Zerg. But I wonder if Reynor was just a little bit too timid of kind of letting that happen, or let that be the case. He almost wants Zoun to fight in a way. I mean, Spine's always going to help, and he had the money to add static defense of his own on. The way that fight went, he would have had to have had a lot of static defense to realistically make the big change, though, right? Link speed building, Queen, Ling's drone on the way, hatchery building up, Stargate on the way out. We got ourselves going here into game number 3. Open warp gate coming through. He's going to see the Queen. Going to be there. The Adept going to get chased. The Adept will shade back. Ling's on the way out. Link speed building. I would have loved to see a Muta Remax. I don't know if Muta Remax would have done much when there's like 15 cannons on each base. I think the problem is if you make Mutas, then Zoun just A-clicks you, you know? And then it's like by the time the Mutas would clear out the cannons eventually. But by the time you do, you just die. So you can't really Muta Remax when the process is on top of you as well. It's not just about the army that's there, it's about where that army of Zoun is. The fact that it's on top of your base and pushing forward already. Yeah, Reynor got... I mean, I think there's a lot of things Reynor could have done if the game had again just gone differently, but the game just did not go differently at the end of the day. A couple things going to poke at the front. Stalker takes some damage. Another gate coming online. Oracles will gather together. Okay, next is a couple probes coming through as the drones, Overlord, Queen, all continue to build into play for now. Oracle will just gather up, just going to be seeing the few. Ling is being watched by the couple of Oracles overhead for the moment, so they're just going to keep an eye on that. Think about whether or not there's going to be any opportunity for them to do much of anything there. Probably not just yet, but we can sit and wait and hope. Oracles just going to chase those Lings down to the bottom. They're going to run through. Obviously, Oracles would like to go and start harassing now a little bit as well, but the Queen's instantly in position. That's what happens when you're going to run your Oracles across the map over the top of Zerglings. The opponent is, in fact, going to know where you're moving to, so doesn't manage to achieve very much there, as the Adepts will shade back over to the side. Well, the upgrade will be building then onto the Evo Chamber, gives the Lings that power-up that they're obviously loving to play with as well. Get into that. Baneling Nest now starting from Reynor as well. So bringing that Baneling Nest up and online. The hatchery coming through. Drones and Zerglings producing as well. A couple of Oracles will make their way around. Activate onto the 4th hatchery. I mean, they've got a good bit of energy because they've not done much this game. So the couple of Queens will be forced to walk over, and the hatchery will take a lot of damage. One of the Oracles is going to run out of energy soon. I don't think we actually kill the hatch. Queen's are going to get in range. It's kind of weird because like it does drain a lot of Oracle energy. We don't think of Oracle energy as much of a resource anymore because we live in a world where energy recharge exists. But now these Lings are going to run in because the Oracles are A, out of position, and B, low energy if they do come back. Forces the shade on the Adepts, which do get toward a battery, and I think that's enough for Reynor just to say nuh-uh for the moment. But word count looking good. Bane Nest finished as well, so Baneling's now a possibility for Reynor too. He will have the lair shortly to give him the Baneling speed. There's the Storm coming up as the next step already from Zoun. Gets the Storm alongside the Blink and the +1, and he's going to be feeling very good and confident to keep on trading with a lot of those units that Reynor is going to start making soon. Those Oracles really are just going to chill out overhead and keep a sharp eye on those Zerglings, really making sure they're getting up to absolutely no trouble at all. Storm, Blink, +1 coming through, the couple of gates getting built online as well. And then the battery being brought up also. We'll gather. The single Ling there going to get rid of the probe. Additional Hydras coming through, and Muscular Augments, the missile upgrade, all building as well. Add on those Hydras, add on those Zerglings. Looking pretty darn good there, to say the least, as the hatchery continues by. A couple of creep tumors added on into this at the same time. As the Lings run across to this other side, I'm going to start getting a wrap around on that Nexus. Nexus will go down here, so Nexus killed. Gonna force the storm. I mean, you can't really complain about having to use a storm when it's gonna hit every single Zergling. Reynor, don't think that was really much value at all there, as he is just building a lot of Ling Hydra. Hydra count especially growing high at the moment. Observer gonna start seeing those units pouring out. It's 86 drones. It's not like this is a committed, like, okay, we're out on the map to go and win this game. But it's a lot of units without adding additional tech. So there is still that kind of element of, I'm going to push, shove, rebuild, go again. This is definitely the trade heavily, trade hard, and then just go with the rebuild kind of army. And this is where I kind of feel like a second Stargate and a Fleet Beacon is a bit misplaced for Zoun, because that's investment into, you know, units for the late game. And Reynor is not looking at that same phase of the game as what Zoun is looking at, right? And that's the issue, is that that may just be the problem here, where Zoun is going to have extremely good storms to keep him safe on this one. Ling's already preemptively setting off a few of these stasis wards, and obviously that's going to be nice. Again, there's a lot of storms available. You got to be very careful with your approach here as Reynor. Stack defense is coming online, but there's no way he doesn't commit to this. The only reason he's not going yet is he's waiting on upgrades. +1 missiles, groove spines, bailing speed. That was a little bit of a shove where he's like, hey, throw a storm or two down already. Get afraid, you know? Let's make sure that's 1 or 2 less storms when I truly commit. Zoun did not bite on that bait. So he is not going to be baited into a couple of storms early. So he still tries to set stasis wards up. Obviously, the Ling's going to try and do what they can. Coming down this ramp will be a little bit difficult. You see a couple of the stasis wards going off now. Bane's rolling forward. That first storm's great, but we need a second storm. Stasis will come down instead. The Bane's going to start aiming toward the High Templar. They will be in trouble, and a high energy High Templar goes down. It's a lot of Hydras left over against just Stalkers. No storms left over. One in the background, apparently. Maybe another energy recharge just came in. Hits both sides of the Hydra list, but there's just not enough follow-up here available for Zoun. And like I say, I think maybe a little bit too much investment into the future and not enough investment into the here and the now, which is exactly what Reynor was looking at. Immortal there, few Stalkers. Reynor just needs the reinforcement wave, and he's going to be looking golden as that Immortal does not quite go down just yet. Super low. The Banes crashed in and denied a warping of Zealots, by the way, as we do actually clean everything up for Reynor. He's going to lose everything, but he's got so many reinforcements on the way, and that's why I'm not really worried, because this time, Zoun doesn't have 6, 7 High Templars ready to go, building up energy, and with energy recharge sitting off cooldown ready to be used either, right? And that's going to be a major issue, because now Lings are going to be way more effective, Hydras are going to be unstoppable, and Reynor is going to be unmatched in numbers when it comes to winning out this Game 3. Reynor retakes the lead of our best of 5, and he hits hard with the Lingbane Hydra against a Protoss event, so... Bottom left, we are going to kick off with the red Zerg. It's going to be Reynor. He has the match point advantage right now in this BO5, taking on the blue Protoss. In the top right-hand corner of the map, it is Zoun. Game 4 of this series. Been fun. It's been a little bit of switching it up as well. There's been a few different ways in which things have kind of built up and gone around and happened. Got the gate and the assimilator coming through. The probe is coming up. A couple of dronies in the hatchery coming online as well for now. And the first few moments of PvZ is typically fairly peaceful. Waiting to see if it is going to be a Stargate tech from the pros. Obviously, the one game that Zoun opened up with. The first game was Twilight Council, so it's not just been Stargates today. He's been mixing his builds up a fair amount, actually, doing a couple different things. Of some different openers as well, so a little bit more. I believe he was pretty consistent with what he did when he played in the RSL. I think he did a lot of similar openings into different styles in RSL, so that's the one thing I think I remember reading when I looked for a recap of the series. Chrono boost on the Adept there. Yeah, we just take a few moments here, get set up. Stargate building, probe, stalker, warp gate all building about, link speed coming through, queen in the links building, the overlord on the way through. Link speed will be finishing shortly. Probe is going to drop down a cheeky little pylon. And Oracle and the warp gate still building up as the couple of probes continue through as well here. Just going to have the few drones and the link speed as well, still building about for a few moments, bringing that all online. Our link speed completed in the next few moments. Let's see, Oracle are going to see those Zerglings, aren't you going to follow them? Which is nice, because the last time you have an Oracle on your side of the map, the better for you as the Zerg, less time for the Protoss to find openings and opportunities to take advantage and to get damage done. So, yeah, seeing this Oracle over here is already kind of nice, and keeping it kind of pinned on your lings is only going to send you into a few positions of favor. So you've got to love that early on. Oracle's feelings. A little bit of movement coming around. Queen's is going to be there. Oracle is going to take a few shots of damage. A few hits coming through. Going back around that left-hand side again. Drone Overlord's building up. Taking a few moments. As you can see, the Queen's going to get there, and the Oracle will take a few more shots of damage. And just got that land. A couple of Overlords still building through. The Blink on the way. Gates in the Forge building as well. We've seen a couple of Queens going to hit that Oracle, and we are just going to shove that back as still get the Blink coming by. We're not going to move away from that Link style as well from that last game, go back into the Roaches. That's the kind of setup that we had in that game too, that Zoun was successful in, where it's going to be this kind of missiles, Roaches, probably into Hydras. Meanwhile, the Temple Archives comes up from Zoun. He already looks towards Storm and just advancing this game into a later stage. One thing that Reynor was not really able to do at all back on Persephone really was break through with the Lurkers. Like, the first time he had Lurkers, he put himself in front of the Natural, between the Natural and the third base, and he had a good position to play from for a bit, but that got broken down, and after that, he never really found the Lurkers in an annoying place anymore, right? So, definitely feeling that, perhaps, maybe, we're in a position here where when you consider if he goes into Lurkers again, maybe you can find some better openings and opportunities this game. But it was not really kind of available back on Persephone the last time we saw something like this. Obviously, we're not like that just yet. 71 workers, adding a few more, so we are looking for the longer game still here from Reynor. Yeah, currently just Roaches as +1 missiles and Roach speed finishes. No sign of any other tech just yet. In position, Oracle gets turned. Queen hitting that Oracle. In fact, Oracle going down as the Queen from the right side is going to pick it off, so that is going to be a kill. Roaches here going to go through the rocks. Again, Roach speed, Overlord speed, a few additional Zerglings all coming about. Roach is going to knock those rocks down, open up a bit of space, add some Ravages in as well. And we're going to see a lot of units. This is going to be commitment from Reynor. 80 drones, different kind of commitment to last time. You see a lot of cannons and batteries being added on right now from Zoun. A couple of them are quite far back on the right side. Depending where Reynor attacks, some of them may not really be that applicable to the defense that's coming up here. We got a lot of overlords that are speeding across. They're going to provide the creep spread so we can get some transfusions going as well, get the queens to be as useful as possible in this fight. I mean, Zoun knows what's up. The observer is going to show it. The roach is going to work their way through these rocks, obviously looking for multiple openings. You want to start sending some lings forward now, perhaps. Instant cancel on the 4th base, no surprises there. But yeah, send some lings forward, set up some of these stasis wards. It's going to be a pretty huge stasis catch on the right side. Top side gets a good few lings as well. They really are good stasis to begin with. A couple of storms already came down. Most of this army is pretty resilient to storm, but if you hit a lot of ravages at once, that's still going to be painful. Obviously, softening up roach is never a bad thing either, as Reynor maxed against the 130 supply is down. Currently just not doing what he can, knocking down this gateway, and as some of these stasis fade, that might be Reynor's opportunity to go forward again right here. That storm is going to hit big, as we do try and chase the High Templar. Some of them getting very low, finally back into battery range. We don't have too many storms remaining. Going to be a big deal. Reynor still hanging on. 17 new roaches on the way, but they're going to take a long time to reinforce, and I'm afraid that these Ravagers are starting to be a little exposed. If Stalkers start hitting Ravagers, that's expensive units that are going to go down quickly. Good pullback there, just where the storm came down, as Reynor will indeed run back. Has the creep nearby because of the Overlords. That's a big deal. A little bit of extra speed to help him to kind of disconnect from this engagement. Oh, Queen's getting caught though. Roach is reinforced. We blinked into this, so we can kind of fight this a little bit more as Reynor now. Those Stalkers do not have the pullback ability that they usually would. So a lot of the Ravagers taking damage. Supply definitely dropping for Reynor, while Zoun is staying pretty steady. 120 to 130 has been where he's been at pretty much the whole time. Reynor was so close to killing some of those High Templar, and that would have been a major deal, because getting rid of those and stopping new storms from coming online would have been absolutely massive if it could have come around. Obviously, it's not really turned out to be the case. The extra Rav just popped through. Push the Stalkers back a little further. Corrosive Bile knocked down that Stasis Ward. Obviously, this is a kind of situation where Reynor is just committed. He is going to want to keep on going for this right now, so there's not going to be much turning back from him as a few roaches run into the natural, into the main. The Templar is actually going to get in trouble, so a couple of those HT is going to go down, so this time we do lose the potential storms for the future. Oh wow, this moment of this attack's huge, and the Corrosive Biles crash onto the Immortal. That's going to be massive as well. Immortal going down, tech units being removed from the equation. The Roaches up in the main base is causing a little bit of chaos and absolutely giving opportunity over here. Some of these static defense on the right side, I said, may not come into play. Now they do, because Reynor's over on this right side, attacking from a different angle. Didn't come into play until now, because this is kind of where it didn't look like Reynor was going to attack at first. Obviously, they came into play for a slight moment or two then, but getting biled down quickly, not really having much impact overall. Reynor wins this. He'll play Serral later today in the ZvP to determine who will be booking their flight to Paris without having to touch the lower bracket. Few more Rav just stepping through. Wolfgate Stalkers taking some shots. Few more Corrosive Biles popping up once again as they continue to try and fight here. Stalkers still getting pushed away. Roaches and Ravagers trying to push through. Ooh, Biles onto the Stalkers coming through that choke point. Zoun is still holding on. Reynor is obviously... The one thing Reynor does have going for him is this is 5 base, 80 drones. But it's committed because of the lack of tech units. It's just Roach, Ravager, Ling. And is Zoun maybe getting enough army supply to actually hold on against this? He might be. There's a lot of Ravagers still. There's less tag defense than ever before. There's also no Storm really anymore, but there's a couple of Immortals. And there's less of an army supply disparity than what we've seen previously. That High Templar does go down before it finds the Storm. The Immortals are both exposed as well. No Prism in this game. Corrosive Biles onto Warp, and in Stalkers gets a lot done. It's still kind of a closer supply count than what we've seen previously, though. Even though Reynor's getting a lot of good things done, I tell you what is a big deal breaker is just how low some of these Stalkers are. And as that Storm gets used, the High Templar's going to end up being in trouble again. Actually, going to Morph and Arca would be huge against the Lings that keep reinforcing. I was going to say the Lings are able to start getting through on the Stalkers, and that's obviously a big deal. And these Stalkers are hurting as well. And I think that's a massive factor, because now it means these Stalkers may actually start dying. That's going to be where some of the supply really drops off for Zoun, where he's been able to maintain it throughout these fights. Otherwise, Reynor turning around again. That Archon's on its own, too far forward realistically. The Stalker count is again not what it once was. That lone Immortal is going to be the tech unit in play right now as Reynor tries to slam on forward. 83 army supply to the 30, and he might just be about breaking through. A few more Roaches on the way. It's a 60 supply difference, 50 army supply difference at this point of the game. There's a massive warping of Ravagers right out the front door. It does give Zoun a moment or two to warp in a few more Stalkers, collect up together here as Reynor still comfortably mining across all of his bases. No harassment. Zoun has had no opportunity to throw things across the map towards Reynor's side. Drip spread all over the place as well, going to help Reynor if he does need to slow this game down at any stage. There's a massive storm from the High Templar. Number 2 is pretty good as well. Corrosive Vials coming down as now the Stalkers say they must blink in. They must take this fight. They must try and trade. It was good storms, but it was unfortunately not going to be good enough for Zoun as his Stalkers stay in trouble here. A few of them remain on that right side trying to take down Ravagers, but it will not be enough. One last-ditched effort on the back of the good storms. He felt like he just had to go in that moment and give it his best shot. Wasn't